Hi everyone, this is Carolyn Speaks, the State of the World on Thursday, May 28th, 2020. So what is the state of the world? Well, it depends who you ask. The coronavirus reigns supreme. We have passed 100,000 people who have passed away from the virus, and we have over 1.5 million cases. Now, as the death toll hit 100,000, Trump's response was to start a fight with the social media organization called Twitter, because Twitter is now putting labels on his tweets if his tweets are false, irresponsible, or outright lies. And Trump does not like that. So he has started a fight with Twitter. Isn't that some nice way to show respect for those people who have passed away from this virus because of his mismanagement, his incompetence? So we'll see what that leaves us. Now, you may recall the state of Wisconsin, the Supreme Court decided that the stay-at-home order issued by the governor of Wisconsin was not something they liked. So they struck down Wisconsin's statewide stay-at-home order. And as a result, there are many more cases of coronavirus cases and deaths as a result of striking down the stay-at-home order for the whole state. So the Supreme Court really did a good service for their people. They killed some of them, they made some of them sick, because they don't like the fact that the state was able to order people to stay home. So I'm hoping the legislature will be able to reinstate the statewide stay-at-home rule to protect the people. And that's who benefits from these stay-at-home rules, the people who live there. And people who don't like this, that's just too bad. These stay-at-home rules are meant to protect you. If you stay home and when you do have to go out, you wear a mask, you're protecting yourself and others. But the Supreme Court was caved in to the wishes of people to not want to be forced to stay home, do not believe the governor has the right to do this. They want businesses to do well. Well, but no business is going to do well if no one is going out because they're afraid to get the virus and die from the virus. So the Supreme Court, you made a big mistake, and I hope that those who voted to end the statewide stay-at-home order, I hope those are the people on the state Supreme Court who will get the virus. And that will teach them a lesson that this is a dangerous situation and it won't make politics out of it. It's a health care issue. It's not a political issue. And the also the health secretary of the state was supporting the stay-at-home order, and the Supreme Court of Wisconsin said that the health secretary exceeded her authority. So the state of Wisconsin has a legislature that is mainly Republican, and the state of Wisconsin has a governor and a health secretary who are Democrats. The ruling in the state Supreme Court was 4-3. The court called Health Services Secretary designates directive of vast seizure of power. So the three people who voted to overturn the stay-at-home order and get rid of it, those are the people who should get the virus, not the innocent people who want to protect the people in their state. Now, businesses, travel, or anything is now going to be restricted again because of the rise in cases and deaths from the virus. The order was the state Supreme Court rescinded the order about 2 weeks ago, and it had been set to expire at the end of the month. So, and the order was also threatening jail time or fines for those who didn't comply. The Republican legislature is convinced 4 Supreme Court justices to throw our state into chaos, said Governor Evers. We cannot let today's ruling undo all the work we have done and all the sacrifices people of Wisconsin have made. So we have to work to reinstate this order and protect everybody. Isn't that a sad state of affairs that politics is determining health, not health experts? So that's one thing to deal with. Another item is the there was a very sad situation in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, where an African American man was murdered as a result of the way he was treated by police. And as a result of that, there's been widespread protests and all kinds of chaos going on in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota. There's also protests in other parts of the country. Now, Trump, instead of trying to find out what happened and try to help solve the problem, he has made a statement that when looting starts, shooting starts. In other words, he's going to punish the looters by shooting them, with no understanding of why these people are protesting. Of course, looting is not legal. I don't support looting, but Trump has no understanding of why there's a protest over the treatment of this African American man at the hands of the local police. So that's the state of our world in the state of Wisconsin. Now, racism, race relations have been a problem since the start of our country. Our country started out with colonists, explorers, and colonists, explorers, and others coming here to try to make a better life for themselves. And they, in the process, they exploited the original Native Americans who were living here, and Native Americans are still suffering for that treatment and that arrival of the colonists from Europe. So now England, basically, the British Isles, they're the first colonists here, along with the Netherlands, the Dutch, Spain, and France. But the U.S. ended up becoming a big British colony. So with policies that allowed exploitation of the indigenous peoples here, and which led to exploitation of people who were not white. It resulted in slaves being brought here, slaves being purchased and brought here to be slaves, to do work for no pay. And then also we had indentured service, people who couldn't afford the cost to come here for a better life. They made an agreement with someone who would pay their fare in return for servitude, indentured servitude for a period of time. And as a result of all this, we ended up with the Civil War in the 1860s, which ended slavery, but started all kinds of problems with the Ku Klux Klan, white supremacists, etc. So the Civil War did not solve anything because we've had problems here because of the way our country was started, created, whatever. And now we're trying to get beyond that, but it's not that simple. You have to admit the fact that people came here as slaves they were brought here against their will. People came here from Latin America because the U.S. borders Latin America on the west coast and other parts of the west, and these people were brought in because they needed their labor. Asian people were brought in to build the railroads, such as the Chinese. So all kinds of things going on, and a lot of racism against people who were not, quote, white, unquote. So we have big problems here with race. They have never been solved, and I don't know when they will be, but it's something to think about, because we did a few days ago celebrate a holiday called Memorial Day, where we honored those who lost their lives in the service of the country for our freedoms. But how can you ask people who are being exploited to fight for the freedom of those who are exploiting them? For instance, if you fought in the Civil War for the North, if you fought in Europe during World War I and World War II, then you came back to the U.S. as a non-white person and were discriminated against. So where is the justice in that? We have a lot of work to do on race relations. And I think the best way to do that is through dialogue. But we do have people who don't want a dialogue, who don't think anyone should have any rights except themselves, and will continue to fight to maintain their white supremacy as they see it. All right. Now, it's a lot of business for today. We still have to get the coronavirus under control. We have to take it seriously. The federal government has to take charge and manage testing, which is not being managed. Be a uniform policy of testing people. If you test positive, your contacts are traced, and you and any of your contacts of the virus will be isolated and treated, and their contacts will be traced, etc., and so on. So we have to do that. We still need personal protective equipment. We have to make this an effort that's provide the equipment for hospitals and frontline workers that they need, and not turn it into a profit center for certain people in the Trump administration. Also, we still have to take care of vulnerable peoples like migrant workers, farm workers, veterans in veterans homes, people in assisted living homes, people in retirement homes, the homeless in shelters and on the street. All these people have to be taken care of, and that's the only way we're going to solve that. We're going to solve this coronavirus problem by testing everybody, isolating everyone who has the virus, and if you go out, have to go out in public, you have to wear a mask, and you can't go on without, but certain parts of the U.S. have now opened up with no mask requirement. They have issued their liberation from shelter-in-place, lockdowns, and wearing a mask. Not good policy. Everyone should wear a mask when they go out in public and practice social distancing, 6 feet between you and another person. Well, that's the way it is right now. All right, time for a little song for today. A song I sing is Island of Dreams, a song written by Tom Springfield, part of the Springfield's folk group with his sister Dusty Springfield and a third member. I don't know all the words, so we'll do some of it. High in the sky is a bird on the wing. Please carry me with you, far, far away from the mad rushing crowd. Please carry me with you. Again I would wander where memories enfold me, there on the beautiful island of dreams. High in the sky is a bird on the wing. Please carry me with you. Okay, that's all I can remember of Island of Dreams. This was from the 1960s. Okay, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. Hope to see you all back here tomorrow evening for another session with Carolyn Speaks, the State of the World. So this is Carolyn Speaks, State of the World on May 28, 2020, signing off. Stay safe, take care of yourself, take care of others, and remember, kindness goes a long way. Kindness goes a very long way. Thank you. Good night.